The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
And we are live to tape on the W2M Network for the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge review. Hey, Brandon, I made it through this week without flubbing it at the start.
Yay!
I am your host. My name is Harry Broadhurst. The voice you just heard is the new third man in these booths. That is Brandon Biskobing.
Whoop, whoop.
And once again with us after a couple of weeks of hiatusing, don't hiatus because you ain't us, my co-hostess with the mostest, Liz Pugliese.
Welcome back.
Yay, thank you.
Yay! I feel like a Muppet. I'm like Kermit the Frog waving my arms. Yes, that's right. Visual implication for an audio podcast. You're welcome. Anywho, and it is now time for us to discuss the ever-changing world of 205 Live as the Cruiserweight Classic 2.0, I guess you could call this, continues with two more first-round matches in the Cruiserweight tournament to determine a new champion to be settled at WrestleMania. Before we do so, though, this presentation of the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live review is brought to you by W2Mnet.com, your source for all information needed for all things wrestling, football, soccer, video games, entertainment, and more. Visit us online at W2Mnet.com. Forgot to get the plug in during the course of the SmackDown Live review. Figured I'd do it at the start of this one. All right, let's get to it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Our opening contest scheduled for one fall.
One fall.
Yes, that is going to be a thing going forward. Is the first of our two first-round matches tonight as the Lucha House Party explodes when Kalisto takes on Lince Dorado. Gran Metalik has already been knocked out of the tournament after getting his lumbar checked by Cedric Alexander, so whoever wins this match will be the only member of Team Mucho Mucho Lucha Lucha to advance to the second round of the tournament. In this particular instance, the man who does so is Kalisto, pinning Lince Dorado with a second Salida del Sol after a springboard reverse Hurricane Rana that could have went very, very, very badly. Brandon, your thoughts on the first contest of the evening, Kalisto and Lince Dorado?
I mean, it was what you expected with a luchador type match, very high flying, very exciting, yada yada yada. But I am so disappointed that Lince did not get the win here. I get Kalisto is the veteran of the two, but Lince was the one in the Cruiserweight Classic. Lince is the one that I feel has the more upside in between these two. I just would have much preferred to see Lince get this win and see where Lince could have gone after being off TV for more than 5 months, more like 10 months? Something like that? I don't know.
Lince's been kind of around hit and miss. It's not been as much as he had been during the early part of 2017, but he had been around on 205 Live kind of hit and miss.
I don't remember him being on since, December of last year.
Liz, your thoughts on Team Mucho Mucho Lucha Lucha?
I enjoyed the match. I would have liked to see Lince win as well. I mean, it was a good match. At a couple of moments where you were like, oh my god, that could have, like you were saying, that could have been very, very bad. But it was good. It was a exciting little match there. I enjoyed it.
See, my biggest takeaway from this match, though, is the fact that with that finishing spot there, they damn near killed Lince again.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay's had an issue with his head hitting the canvas before, so him taking a reverse Frankensteiner is a bad idea in general principle, let alone a springboard one that Kalisto was nowhere near in control of. Thankfully, it looked like Lindsay got his hands down to be able to brace himself from fully going headfirst into the canvas off of that reverse Rana, because it looked really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't look good at all.
Salida del Sol, as mentioned, Kalisto advances at 11:50, and if they hopefully keep with the theme of people taking on the person that they were in the same show as, much the same way the Cruiserweight Classic did, this could lead to a very interesting second round matchup for Kalisto. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get to our other half of tonight's double matchup card, let's talk about the matches that they announced for next week here on the 205 Live Cruiserweight title tournament. As the first match, and I will talk to you about this first, Brandon, is Akira Tozawa versus Mark Andrews, or as he's more commonly known, Andrews. Your thoughts on Tozawa and Andrews?
I mean, I'm okay with it. I'd have to look up to see if Mandrews is actually 205 or below.
I can tell you right now he's about $170 with a brick in his pocket.
Okay. But I mean, I'm okay with it. You know, I would have liked to have seen pushed in 5 and then getting a bit more of a push. But I understand why Mandrews is getting a push. You know, I'm expecting Tozawa to move on from this, but considering what we saw tonight, I would not be at all surprised if Mandrews moved on. But it's nice to see them expanding 205, and especially considering the fact that the UK tournament basically fell by the wayside. The fact that these guys, at least those who are eligible to go into 205, it's nice to see them get more of a push than they were previously.
Well, that's going to be the thing for me, is whether or not they end up putting somebody like Pete Dunne into this tournament as well, because with Dunne falling right around that 205 marker there, but him being the UK champion, it'll be interesting to see whether or not they decide to expand his presence on WWE television by having him get involved with the 205 Live guys. And I think that if they do intend to make 205 Live a touring brand, then they need to add some more of these names from the UK Championship tournament that we saw on the WWE Network, the UKCT, in order to give the brand more relevancy as it tours individually, much the same way the WWE ECW brand had its issues with footing when it first started touring back in 2006.
One guy that I would love to see, and this may just be my personal bias, but one guy that I would love to see join either NXT or 205 is Devlin.
I think the thing with Jordan Devlin's going to be a case of him having to get more experience under him. I don't think that Devlin's at the point now where he's quite ready for that big of a stage.
I'll agree with that, but, you know, just the fact that what he was able to do in the UK tournament with him busting the back of someone's head open with an enziguri, you know.
Danny Burch.
What?
Danny Burch, the former Martin Stone.
And Danny Burch, you've seen what he's done in NXT.
Especially now that he's teaming with Oni Lorcan. Liz, that takes me to the other announced match for next week on 205 Live, and that is, we set it up with a backstage promo as Drake Maverick, the former Rockstar Spud, is conversing and being conversed with Drew Gulak and Tony Nese in his office. Gulak and Nese are once again Gulak more so specifically, is sucking up to the new general manager, and Drake Maverick proceeds to read both Gulak and Nese the riot act, telling them that both of them have so much potential, but they basically let themselves become comedy acts. Something about Drake Maverick counting his abs was absolutely hilarious to me.
That was fabulous.
That was great.
I loved it.
That being said, I don't know how I feel about the new GM going to the level of snippeting the balls of the competitors. We'll see if this goes somewhere. I've said before, Maverick has wrestled before in other places, as we've talked about here. He's had a run with TNA. He's had a run with Ring of Honor. He's had runs in the United Kingdom and various independents, as well as over in Germany with West Side Extreme Wrestling, WXW. So Maverick can wrestle, so it'll be interesting to see if he finds himself in the ring down the road here. This right here, though, it seemed like kind of an impassioned speech to get both of these guys to find their inner tagger, and it works on another level too, Liz, because we were talking about the implosion of the Zoe train before, and one of the main implements in that happening was Gulak siding with the now persona non grata Enzo Amore and attacking Tony Nese on an episode of 205 Live a couple of weeks ago, so we get kind of a blow-off to that as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. I enjoyed the segment. I mean, I'm not really familiar with Rockstar Drake here at all. I'll be honest with you there. So I was kind of like last week when he came in, I was like, yeah, okay. It was very, for me, I think the whole thing came off flat, but I enjoyed his, snippety, snip thing. I don't really have a problem with it, so far. I enjoyed the segment. I think it showed him some personality, and I love Gulak, so I'm looking forward to the match.
Yeah, I mean, while I wish they would expand upon 205 and make a tag title, and Gulak and Nese would be a great tag team for them to be the first ever the Cruiserweight Tag Team Champions.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not going to do that, this is a great way to split them up and do a little bit of a rivalry between the two. And it would be interesting to see where they go with this.
I'm just going to be that guy that points out that the last promotion that had a Cruiserweight Tag Team title went out of business.
No. False.
Yes, true. WCW 2001.
If you're just purely talking about Cruiserweight Tag Team titles, yes. But Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles, New Japan, Ring of Honor.
Okay, New Japan, yes. Ring of Honor, no. New Japan, yes. I will agree with the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. But that being said, that division is established in Japan. It is not with the American audience.
I agree with that. But if they did it correctly this time, especially with the separate show, I think they could do it.
I don't disagree with that, but at the same time, they're barely having the opportunity to give these guys the focus now that they have a title tournament. What makes you think that they can concentrate on a tag team division as well?
I'll agree with that, but if they use 205 as they do NXT, then they could do it.
That takes us to our main event, Liz, as the debuting Roderick Strong of Next. That one was just for you. The debuting Roderick Strong out of NXT takes on Hideo Itami. And to what Brandon was talking about earlier, the big upset happens here as Roderick Strong takes Hideo Itami out of the Cruiserweight title tournament, pinning him dead center of the ring with the end of heartache vertical suplex lift into double knee backbreaker at 17 minutes. You heard that correctly, people. Roderick Strong, Hideo Itami, the former Kenta Kobayashi, got 17 minutes in a WWE ring. Liz, I know that you're not super familiar with Roderick and you only had the experiences that you've seen with Tommy on the 205 Live roster. What did you make out of this match?
I really enjoyed it. I was surprised at how much time it got, but obviously that's, a very good thing. It was for me, it was a very good match. I was not surprised that Roderick went over. In one sense, disappointed. I think his opponent there deserved a little better. Hopefully they have something in mind for him. Or maybe they just have a quota of how many people from certain parts of the world are going to be in the tournament. And I apologize for the background coughing there. But I think once we got that pity package of Roderick, I knew the win was coming.
Brandon, you're a little bit more familiar than Liz is when for regards to the capabilities of both Roderick and Hideo Itami. How do you think this stacked up to what you expected for this contest?
Yeah, I mean, I get what Liz is saying with the whole, Roderick, them replaying the whole video package of who was Roderick Strong thing from NXT. I get what you're saying in terms of, yeah, you expected him to win, but I am absolutely shocked and flabbergasted that Roderick Strong went over in this scenario. And it's going to be very interesting to see where they go from here, not only in 205, but in NXT as well, because, you would assume that anyone, now, granted, I've been stood corrected in the past when it comes to the Cruiserweight Classic, but, you would think, especially with everyone in this tournament being signed to WWE previously, that anyone who wins their first match qualifier would end up being at least a relatively full-time member of the 205 Live roster. So,
I agree.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I completely agree with everything you're saying.
So, I'm surprised that they're moving Roderick into the 205 Live roster already instead of having him build up in NXT and moving him into the main roster.
I think Roderick's size works against him when it comes to being a part of the main roster.
I'll agree with that to an extent.
Much the same way. Wait. Much the same way a guy like Austin Aries' size worked against him in regards to being on the main roster.
True. Maybe Roderick is the guy, whereas Aries whined more. Maybe Roderick is the guy to give 205 Live some sort of name recognition and build it beyond where it was. But I still don't like how they pushed Itami up to 205 and gave him this big push just to have him job out to someone who just came up to 205.
All right. That was not a job.
I'll agree with you on that, but it's still technically a job.
No, him getting jobbed out to Roderick would have been Roderick beating him in 4 minutes. True. This right here was a back-and-forth match that, frankly, I think will lead to more down the road, specifically with the whole thing of the whole respect kick that Itami has been on in 205 since he's come up to the main roster of 205 Live.
That is a good point.
I 100%.
It's not a straight job. You're right. But I think Brandon means it in the sense that it was surprising based on what they've been doing. In that sense, they feel like, a lot of fans out there are going to say like, he jobbed out to him. It was a great match. Yes, it was. I enjoyed the match. I actually thought I missed the end because I walked away for a second. I'm like, oh crap, it's still, it's still on. Oh my God. And, but some people are going to think, okay, well, they lost faith in him and they gave him a good match and we're not going to see him for a while. I think that's what Brandon means by jobbing him out.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Like, this is seeding doubt into people's minds of, oh, is Mark Andrews now going to win against Tozawa next week?
Well, the other thing, too, that you're not considering as well, Brandon, is that Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness specifically mentioned Hideo Itami's ongoing rivalry with Jack Gallagher as well.
That's true, but I would have rather had them, if they were going to go that route, I would have had Gallagher come out and interrupt the match.
Disagree.
And distract Itami to allow Strong to win. Rather than have Strong winning cleanly.
Completely disagree. Such a booking cliche.
I understand this, but, it would have been the way to keep Itami strong while at the same time, keep Itami strong while at the same time allowing Strong to win the match.
Liz, do you buy that?
I think I could go, either way on it. I don't think that the tournament abandons all, of the storylines. I think it just gives it another, dimension. I stand by with that. I'm surprised that, Roderick, got the win. And I do know who he is, and I am familiar with him, even though I don't watch, NXT all that much. I still wanted to say it the other way just to annoy you. I do see Brandon's point. I think it would have been a bit of a cliche if Gallagher came out and, distracted him. But I can also see Brandon's point where if you're going to have him take this, loss, I think a lot of fans would have liked to see it that, okay, there's still something else going, on with him, because let's face it, this tournament is going to Mania. We're going to be, talking about it for the next 14 weeks, 13, 15 weeks. It's going to be whatever. It's going to be dragged, dragged. It seems so much longer. It's going to be so dragged out, whatever it is, that there's not going to be time for anything else.
I apologize for cutting you off there, Liz. Did you have anything else to add real quick?
No.
Okay, what I was going to say there was that I agree with that to an extent, but at the same time, when you get into the later rounds of this tournament where you have your quarterfinals, your semifinals and stuff like that, you're going to need other stuff to fill the TV time for 205 Live. Therefore, it is my opinion that you still need to continue other background stories in regards to the Cruiserweight division, and continuing along the lines of the Hideo Itami and Jack Gallagher storyline is a way to fill television time. Brandon, you were about to say something. I apologize. Go ahead.
I agree with you on that level in terms of the TV time, but I feel like if this is a situation where Roderick Strong is now going to become a full-time 205 Live member, then I'm perfectly fine with this win. But if you're going to have him lose to, I'm assuming, who would he be facing in the next round?
That'll depend on the brackets being released, because we don't have the actual brackets yet.
Okay.
My assumption is that they would take on the person who was on the same show as them, in which case it might be Roderick Strong versus Kalisto.
Okay, so if you're going to have him lose to Kalisto next in the next round, then this was completely and then proceed to just go back to NXT, then this was completely pointless, because it completely undermines Itami's momentum without doing anything in the process. But if you're going to have Strong become a permanent member of the 205 Live roster, then I'm perfectly fine with it. That's my big deciding factor.
I'm going to disagree with that, and here's why. One, it gives NXT more exposure on the main roster. Two,
but they don't need it.
I disagree with the casual fans. They do.
But if they were doing this on Raw, I would agree with you. But since they're doing it on 205 Live, the same fans that are watching, with the few exceptions, the very, very, very few exceptions that are maybe staying around from the SmackDown tapings at the arenas, I don't think there is, and there's nowhere near a substantial amount of people who are watching 205 Live on the network who aren't already watching NXT.
Liz, do you care to chime in here, whether you think this was the right call or not?
To have Roderick win, I lean more towards, Brandon's thinking. I hold out hope that they actually have, something going on. I don't think that we're going to be getting too much of the other storylines as we move on to the finals. I'm hoping, and I kind of think they're going to be giving them longer matches, but we'll see. It's going to be one of those things where some of us will be proven right and some of us will be moving wrong. And I'm going to get myself a referee shirt for next week. Not that you could see it, but I guess that's what I think I'm going to be doing with the two of you.
It's all right. Hopefully I'll be in a better mood next week. Although I seem to be doing a little bit better during 205 Live than I was during SmackDown. I was kind of cranky during SmackDown.
It's all good.
Overall show rating for 205 Live, Liz, where do you fall? Scale of 1 to 10?
I enjoyed it very, very much. I'm going to be super generous for me and give it a 7.
Brandon?
I'm also going to give it, or I'll give it a 6.5. I wish they would have given the nudge to Lince because, Kalisto already had his push and you would have liked to have seen them try to build some new stars in this episode and in this tournament. And, I would have liked to have seen them, build Itami since they pushed him as a member of 205 Live already. But, 2 solid matches, and we'll just have to wait and see how they go from here.
I'm even higher up than you guys are. I'm giving it an 8.
Nice.
And a lot of it has to do with the match quality of the Hideo Itami Roderick Strong match. Look, obviously they need better crowds to work in front of. I mean, nothing's going to change with 205 Live until they get better crowds to work in front of. I think we can all agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, though, if they keep putting on matches this quality, hopefully the fan bases that are there in attendance will start to come around more and more, like they did for this match, like they did for the match last week between Cedric Alexander and Great Metalik, and especially like they did 2 weeks ago for the match between Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali, where you had a very loud "This Is Awesome" channel on 205 Live.
Right.
Hopefully they give the opportunities to these guys to put on these kind of performances, and we'll get more and more in the way of the crowds paying attention to them and giving them the reactions that they deserve to justify the ring work that we're getting here. I was very entertained by tonight's episode.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's going to go ahead and move us into the mixed match challenge for this evening, as match 4 of the first round sees the team of Rose Gold, Goldust, and Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose. Taking on the team of Jimmy Uso and Naomi. All right, I made this statement to you guys while I was talking to you about this match while we were watching it. I'm going to state it on air. Mandy Rose might become my new Tori Wilson. Just hopefully a better worker. Because let's be honest, for as pretty as Tori was, she couldn't work a lick. I at least see potential in Mandy Rose. Brandon, let's start with you here. What did you think of this match?
I mean, this was a decent match. First off, let me ask you guys something. I think all of us expected Jimmy and Naomi to go over in this match.
Agreed.
Anyway. But did anyone say, as soon as Daniel was named as the special guest referee, that there was no chance in hell for Goldust and Mandy?
I think we needed more SmackDown Live teams going over anyway, so I didn't really give it any kind of a second thought.
I agree with that, but, especially with how this has been booked as Raw versus SmackDown, as soon as Daniel became the special guest referee, especially considering it was Jimmy and Naomi, I figured they were going to go over on this match. It was a good match. I liked how they handled this match, especially considering the parody of, Jimmy and Naomi being a legitimate couple as compared to Goldust and Mandy being a last minute, cluster, what. This match was exactly what I expected. It was a good match. I liked it. This was one of the few mixed match challenge matches I actually enjoyed, because one of the tag team partnerships actually made sense for once. I
think both tag team partnerships make sense here. Mandy Rose has always nicknamed herself the Golden Goddess.
True, I'll give you that. But, this was a last-minute substitution.
I agree, it was. And Goldust and Alicia Fox would have made a lot more sense because Alicia is crazy.
Yep, I'll give you that.
So, I mean, either way, if you were to have to put a last minute replacement for Alicia together, and appreciated the effort for Alicia there. It's unfortunate that she literally busted her ass in order to train for the Women's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
I think that Mandy more than held up her end of the bargain here. I was actually very entertained by Mandy Rose, and I think she's shown a lot more personality aligned here with Goldust than she has at any point when she's been with Absolution. Liz, where do you fall in this match? What did you think?
I mean, it would have been a totally different match, I think, with Alicia, was healthy. I mean, Alicia's not the greatest worker villains, but am an Alicia Fox fan, so I was looking forward to it, and I love Goldust, of course, who doesn't? I think this was the first one I actually paid attention to, because it was nice because you can actually hear them very, clearly, and that's probably just my connection on the previous matches. Facebook hates me. It was funny. Of course, everybody knew Mr. and Mrs. Uso, were going to go over. It did not matter who they were facing. I don't think Brian was, necessarily, a hint at it. I mean, because he didn't legit, Mr. Uso there get away with his nonsense, with Goldust. So it was fun. It was a fun match. I really enjoyed, Mandy, even in their promos beforehand. I thought they were really, really good together. And she showed a lot of personality. I think she has a lot of potential in the ring, and something that a lot of the women lack. I think she has potential to really be good on the mic. I think she can really be a good, speaker.
That actually kind of ties into another thing that I said in the Wrestling to the Max wrestling chat as well, and I even want to step further than my Tori comparison in the Wrestling to the Max chat. I jokingly compared her to Tori because the looks are very similar, and for those that know me and those that have listened to the show here, they know that Tori is my all-time favorite diva. The actual person, and she's gotten a lot of visual comparisons to this woman as well, is if she continues to improve her game in the ring, Mandy Rose could very easily become the next Trish Stratus.
Mm-hmm.
Because she has the availability, based on what we saw with her interactions with Goldust here and what we saw with her interactions in NXT, to have the availability to cut character promos, to do character work, working with other people in addition to being by herself. If the in-ring progresses to the level that Trish did, and I have no reason to believe that it won't with the amount of trainers that they have involved with the WWE now to help her along, such as a David Finlay, such as a Sarah Amato, then we're looking at possibly thinking about Mandy Rose as being one of those women who could carry the bar of being that golden child, that golden girl of the WWE women's division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I don't have a problem with it either.
Brandon?
Yeah, I could totally see it. One thing that we didn't mention about this match before is I like the whole little segment they had in the beginning of that match between both teams.
Are you referring to the Kiss segment?
Yeah.
I think that this is one of the matches in this challenge where you could get away with that, though.
Which I would love to see Jimmy and Naomi face off. Now, I don't know if they'll even get past the first round because I think their opponents are very legitimate, and I could totally see their opponents going over. But I would love to see, just for the interactions between the two, it would be interesting to see Jimmy and Naomi face off against Rusev and Lana.
Jimmy and Naomi are going to get murdered in the next round by Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss, so it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Now, if she wasn't pregnant, it would have been fun to have seen Miz and Maurice together.
I don't know that Maurice has any interest in wrestling anything resembling a full-time or even a part-time schedule anyway.
I think in this, she would have been willing to do it, though.
Yeah, I could see that. It's something like this.
I mean, it's not really
hooked to the main show.
A year later, I would have loved to have seen them have 4 legitimate teams together: Jimmy and Naomi, Rusev and Lana, Miz and Maurice, and Johnny and Candice.
Wait, who?
Johnny Gargano and Candice Gargano.
Candice LeRae, she still uses her.
I couldn't picture who Candice was.
She still uses her independent
I know,
name.
but she should use her.
Well, I was letting Liz know.
I know.
All right, so rather than giving this a rating based on the match itself, let's give this a rating based on entertainment value. Scale of 1 to 10, where do you fall on this match in the Mixed Match Challenge?
9.
Wow. Brandon?
I'll give it a 7.5.
I'm somewhere around Brandon's. I think I'm somewhere around a 7.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I think I enjoyed the Braun and Alexa pairing a little bit more than the Goldust and Mandy Rose pairing. And I see a lot of people that are bitching and complaining about the Braun and Alexa pairing, about the fact that Braun was showing that softer, shucks countryside with Alexa. I think you can do something like that with the Mixed Match Challenge because it's not really canon to WWE television.
I mean, I say.
Well, I think that's why I think
Brandon,
a lot of people like.
No, it's okay. I don't care.
I think that's why a lot of people like this pairing better because it made more sense just on a purely canon level. Like people want these pairings to make sense.
Liz, you were saying?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, making the announcement, I definitely thought some of the pairings, were weird. But for me, I say annoying because, and if you were following along in the chat, you had like Lana and Rusev, talking smack, for lack of a better term, and all sorts of things. So from the women's perspective, it was hysterical. It was cute with Naomi and her honey. And you see some of the, you see it on Total Divas and all that. I just thought it was funny. I thought it was very entertaining. I was more amused by this than anything.
I have to be honest with you. I cannot stand most of the people that make up the universe in some instances here. Some of those chat comments were so freaking stupid. I turned it off.
Yeah.
No, I just paid attention to like some of the Lana and Rusev stuff. I don't pay attention to it.
I couldn't stand all those comments popping up on my screen. I think that's something that they made the right decision in giving you the option to turn off the comments.
Well, see, I use the computer, so I just put it onto full screen, and
it
automatically removes them. So
you have the option to on the phone. I use my phone, so you have the option to swipe to the right and get rid of the comments.
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, I just think it's stupid in general that it's on Facebook. Like, you just freaking put it on the network. I don't get the whole Facebook. We don't have to get into it, obviously. I just think it's stupid it's on Facebook.
They're being paid by Facebook to put this on there. That's why it's on Facebook.
Yeah. I don't care. It's stupid.
I agree.
Well, look at the bright side here. At least the matches have been mostly entertaining up to this point.
Yeah.
How many more weeks of this is there?
9, 10, somewhere in that range.
This is what I got confused with the other one. That's what I thought. Torture.
Yep, we got 9 more weeks to suffer through, Liz.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying the Mixed Match Challenge. I'm enjoying the fact that the competitors are actually...
I enjoy the matches where the pairings actually make sense.
I think you're reading too much into this.
Yeah, I don't care so much about the pairings. I mean, yes, some of them are stupid, but I kind of think obviously there's, I kind of think like they, didn't force people to do it, but the people who were like more or less interested in it, did it or whatever. I'm sure there was some forcing, like, well, you're going to do this, whatever. I don't think so. I mean, I would have been fine with them like lining the guys up and everybody picking a name out of a hat. I don't care. I'm not really into the concept as it is anyway, but for what it is, it's entertaining.
I mean, granted, 2 of the most entertaining, and one of them, albeit, would have been kind of, meh in the ring itself. But, 2 of the most entertaining and, 2 of the most interesting pairings to have seen in this tournament weren't available.
Who?
One is Miz and Maurice, which, you couldn't get, obviously, because of Miz, or because of Maurice being pregnant.
Mhm.
And the other one, which, I know she's said that she doesn't care about actually getting in the ring, but in something, kind of not as serious as a Mania match, she could have potentially done a little bit of something with it, but obviously her other half was injured. Dean and Renee.
I thought you were about to say Triple H and Stephanie there for a second. I was going to tell you to get off my show.
No,
I thought he was going to say Brie and Daniel.
Well, no, because Daniel couldn't do anything. Period.
Well, no, I know, because he's,
We'll see about that. That's all I'm going to say based on what Shane had to say on SmackDown tonight.
We'll see about that, but they wouldn't waste his return with mixed match.
Is Cesaro still with Sarah? They should have the two of them do it. They could destroy everybody.
Who?
That's kill, though. Like, that's murder. That's not the rest of the teams in this challenge, except for maybe Braun and no, because putting Sarah
if they're still together, but that would be great. Oh my god.
Who with Sarah?
Cesaro. They were dating for a long time.
Oh, okay. I mean, if they waited a little longer, they could have done so many more things with this, just purely on real relationships. Like they could have done Johnny. They could have done Johnny and Candace. They could have done Ray Rowe, and
Sarah Logan.
Sarah Logan, exactly.
Maria.
What?
The other pregnant chick, Maria and her husband.
Maria and Mike.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They could have done Nikki and Cena. They could have done so many things with this if they really wanted to. Mm-hmm. That would have actually made this way more interesting than it is.
Do we have anything else to touch on for these two episodes?
Nope.
No, just speculation on who's with who, but that's a whole other show.
I'm actually checking Wikipedia right now to see if they are still together, and I can't find anything. So
it doesn't say it. If anybody actually listens to this and could appease my damn curiosity if Cesaro and Sarah are still together, let me know.
I'll tell you what. I'll keep looking elsewhere, and I'll get back to you on that one.
And also another one that rumor has it that they're not together anymore, but Cass and Carmella.
That's no rumor. They're broken up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, sadly. I'm kind of hoping she ends up with Big E, but that's just because of social media. I'm sorry.
That's creepy.
No, it's not. They're adorable together.
That would be great. It would be like You Know Who.
No, I don't know who. Who?
I don't want to say it because I feel like Harry will get mad at me.
Just say it. I don't care if Harry gets mad at you. We'll deal with it.
Chris and Nancy.
Congratulations. You just got Carmella killed. Okay, that was too far.
That's horrible. No, it's not going to be anything like that.
No, not in that sense, but just in the sense that the whole reason why they got together in the first place was because of a whole storyline.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. Yeah, who knows, but they're adorable together. And Binky deserves to be happy. He's been alone for so long. I have to stay off Twitter. We should have wrapped this show up, though, because it's 2:25, and I'm tired.
And Stalker is coming out. Big time.
He says it on Twitter. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give you an assignment. Go on Big E's Twitter. It's going to take you a while. Go back to last Valentine's Day and see what he tweeted and get back to me.
I'm not touching. Not at all. All right, so let's wrap this up here. For
Harry hates Twitter. It's okay.
For our executive producer, whose voice you just heard, Sean Garmer, my co-hostess with the mostest, Liz Pugliese, and Brandon Biskobing, I'm Harry Broadhurst, thanking you for listening to the Wrestling to the Max 205 Live and Mixed Match Challenge reviews. We'll talk to you guys next Tuesday. For more information about everything W2M Network, Wrestling to the Max related, make sure you check out W2Mnet.com. Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you next week.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.